Good evening, and welcome back to Footnotes and Folly. Volume 4 Sonnets 54 to 71 holds some of the greatest poems in the language, and the mood has deepened into a long reckoning with time and death. Here are the towering boasts that this verse will outlast marble and war, the waves breaking on the shore as our minutes run out, a weary cry for death in a corrupt world, and, at the very end, the most selfless farewell ever written. Forget me the moment I am gone. The young man is still adored, still occasionally scolded, but the real adversary now is time itself.
Oh, how much more beautiful beauty seems when it is adorned with the sweet ornament of truth. The rose looks fair, but we think it fairer still for the sweet scent that lives inside it. Wild dog roses have just as deep a color as the perfumed roses, hang on the same thorns, and play just as wantonly when summer's breath uncovers their hidden buds. But their only virtue is in their looks, so they live unwooed and fade unremembered, dying to themselves. Sweet roses are not so. From their sweet deaths the sweetest perfumes are made. And so it is with you, beautiful and lovely youth. When your looks have faded, my verse will distill your truth.
The first of the great immortality sonnets in this run. Beauty without truth, he says, is a scentless rose that dies forgotten. The perfume, the part that outlasts death, is what his verse distills from you. He is back to promising eternity, and this time he means the poem itself.
Not marble, nor the gilded monuments of princes, shall outlive this powerful rhyme. You will shine more brightly in these lines than in unswept stone, grind over by slovenly time. When wasteful war overturns statues, and uprooting conflict tears the mason's work to the ground, neither the sword of war nor war's quick fire shall burn away the living record of your memory. Against death and all forgetful enmity you shall stride on. Your praise will still find room in the eyes of every generation that wears this world out, on and on to its doom. So until the judgment when you yourself arise, you live in this verse and dwell in lovers' eyes.
One of the most famous boasts in all of literature that this poem will outlast marble, monuments, and war itself. Outrageous arrogance, except that it has been completely vindicated. The young man's name is lost forever, and the poem is on 1,000 syllabuses.
Sweet love, renew your strength. Do not let it be said that your edge should be blunter than mere appetite, which today is fed and eased, yet tomorrow is sharp again in its old force. Be like that, love. Although today you fill your hungry eyes until they close with fullness, look again tomorrow, and do not kill the spirit of love with a permanent dullness. Let this sad time apart be like the ocean that parts two shores, where two newly betrothed lovers come down to the banks each day, so that, when they see love return, the sight is all the more blessed. Or call it winter, which being full of care makes summer's welcome 3 times more longed for and rare.
After the cosmic boast of 55, a quieter, almost anxious plea, keep the love fresh, do not let mere familiarity blunt it. Even at his most confident, the fear that the love might simply cool never quite leaves him.
Being your slave, what should I do but wait upon the hours and times of your desire? I have no precious time at all to spend, nor any services to do until you require them. Nor do I dare to chide the endless dragging hour, while I, my sovereign, watch the clock for you, nor think the bitterness of absence sour once you have bidden your servant farewell. Nor do I dare to question with jealous thought where you may be or guess at your affairs, but like a sad slave I stay and think of nothing except how happy you make those you are with. Love is so true a fool that, whatever you do in your will, he can think no ill of you.
The first of the slave sonnets, and the tone has curdled. He waits on the young man's whims like a servant watching a clock, forbidding himself even to ask where the beloved is. Devotion has tipped into servitude, and he knows it, and calls himself plainly a fool.
May the God who first made me your slave forbid that I should even in thought try to control your times of pleasure, or ask any account of the hours you spend, being your vassal, bound to wait on your leisure. Oh, let me endure, being at your beck and call, the imprisonment of your absence at your liberty, and let patience, tamed to suffering, bear each rebuff without accusing you of any injury. Be wherever you like, your privilege is so strong that you may grant your own time to whatever you wish. It is yours to pardon the crimes you commit against yourself. I am to wait though waiting so be hell, and not blame your pleasure whether it be good or ill.
The companion slave sonnet, and more abject still, I am to wait, though waiting so be hell. He has surrendered even the right to ask a question. The gaps between them, rank, age, and faith broken, have hardened into a posture of pure submission.
If there is nothing new under the sun, and all that is has been before, how our brains are full, which laboring to invent, mistakenly bear a second time a child already born. Oh, that memory could, looking back 500 years, show me your image in some ancient book, written ever since thought was first set down in words, so that I might see what the old world had to say about this wonder, your well-made frame. Whether we have improved, or they were the better, or whether the turning of things is simply the same. Oh, I am sure that the wits of former days gave their praise to subjects far less worthy than you.
A strange, philosophical detour. Is anything ever new, or does the world merely repeat itself? He half hopes to find the young man's face in some 500-year-old book, and concludes, with a shrug, that the ancients praised lesser things. Even his cosmology bends back into a compliment.
Like the waves that move toward the pebbled shore, so our minutes hasten to their end, each one changing places with the one before, all of them pressing forward in a struggling line. New life, once it is out in the broad light of day, crawls toward maturity, and once it is crowned, Crooked eclipses fight against its glory, and the very time that gave the gift now ruins it. Time runs through the freshness of youth, and digs deep lines in beauty's brow, feeds on the rarest truths of nature, and nothing stands but to be cut down by his scythe. And yet, in spite of his cruel hand, my verse shall stand in ages still to come, praising your worth.
A masterpiece, the minutes breaking on the shore like waves, time both giving life and devouring it. And the same defiant turn, time's scythe mows everything down, but the poem will stand. He keeps losing the argument with mortality, and winning it in the final 2 lines.
Is it your will that your image should keep my heavy eyelids open through the weary night? Do you wish my sleep to be broken, while shadows that look like you mock my sight? Is it your spirit that you send so far from home to spy on what I do, to find out the shames and idle hours in me, the very aim and object of your jealousy? Oh no, your love, though great, is not so great as that. It is my own love that keeps my eye awake, my own true love that defeats my rest, to play the watchman ever for your sake. For you I keep watch, while you are awake somewhere else far from me, and far too near to others.
Sleepless yet again, but now he catches himself in the act. It is not the young man's love keeping him awake, but his own, lying there picturing the beloved with others all too near. Jealousy, honestly diagnosed, which only makes it ache more.
Sin of self-love takes hold of all my eye, and all my soul, and every part of me, and for this sin there is no remedy. It is rooted so deeply within my heart. I think no face is as gracious as mine, no shape so true, no faithfulness of such worth, and I privately appraise my own value as surpassing everyone else in every way. But when my mirror shows me what I truly am, weathered and chapped with the tan of age, I rid my self-love the opposite way round. To love myself so would be a wickedness. It is you, my other self, that I am praising as me, painting over my age with the beauty of your youth.
A clever trap, he confesses to the sin of self-love, then reveals that the self he adores is actually the young man, whose youth he paints over his own aging face. Vanity and devotion turn out to be the same thing in 2 coats.
Against the time when my love shall be, as I am now, crushed and worn by time's injurious hand, when the hours have drained his blood and filled his brow with lines and wrinkles, when his youthful morning has travelled on into age's steep night, and all those beauties of which he now is king are vanishing, or already gone from sight, stealing away the treasure of his spring, for that time I now build my defences against the confusing knife of cruel age, so that it shall never cut from memory my sweet love's beauty, though it cut down his life. His beauty shall be seen in these black lines, and they shall live, and he in them, forever green.
Now he turns the immortality machine onto the young man's own future age, fortifying in advance against the day the beloved too grows old. The poem becomes a vault built ahead of time, to keep a face that is only just beginning to fade.
When I have seen time's cruel hand deface the rich, proud cost of an outworn, buried age, when sometimes I see lofty towers torn down, and eternal brass made the slave of mortal rage, when I have seen the hungry ocean gain advantage on the kingdom of the shore, and the firm soil win ground from the watery main, the one increasing as the other loses, loss and gain trading back and forth, when I have seen such exchanges of state, or the state of things itself collapse to decay, this ruin has taught me to think, in turn, that time will come and take my love away. The thought is like a death, which can only weep to have the very thing it is afraid to lose.
The bleakest poem of the run. Towers fall, brass corrodes, the sea devours the land, and the only lesson is that time will take the beloved too. Here, for once, there is no triumphant couplet, just a man weeping over a loss that has not even happened yet.
Since brass, nor stone, nor earth, nor the boundless sea can withstand it, but sad mortality overrules all their power, how shall beauty make its plea against that fury, when its strength is no greater than a flower's? Oh, how shall summer's honeyed breath hold out against the wrecking siege of battering days, when impregnable rocks are not so stout, nor gates of steel so strong, but that time decays them? Oh, fearful thought! Where, alas, shall time's finest jewel be hidden away from time's own chest? Or what strong hand can hold back his swift foot? Or who can forbid him to spoil what is beautiful? None, unless this miracle should have the power, that in black ink my love may still shine bright.
The companion to 6-4, and its answer. If brass and stone and the sea all yield to time, what hope has a beauty as fragile as a flower? Only one that in black ink my love may still shine bright. The boast has worn down, here, almost into a prayer.
Worn out with all of this, I cry for the rest of death. To see a deserving man born a beggar, and an empty nobody dressed up in finery, and the purest faith unhappily betrayed, and golden honor shamefully misplaced, and maidenly virtue rudely degraded, and rightful excellence wrongfully disgraced, and strength crippled by limping authority, and art made tongue tied by the powers that be, and plain folly dressed up as a doctor, supervising real skill, and simple honesty miscalled naivety, and good taken captive, forced to wait on triumphant evil. Worn out with all of this, I would be gone from it, except that, to die would leave my love all alone.
A startling sonnet, 11 lines of pure, exhausted disgust at a corrupt world, the last thing you would expect from a love poet. And then the turn, the only thing keeping him alive is that dying would abandon the beloved. Despair, rescued at the very last second.
Ah, why should he live in an age of infection, lending his grace to ungodliness, so that sin gains an advantage by his company and laces itself with his presence? Why should false painting imitate his cheek, and steal a dead imitation from his living color? Why should poor beauty go the roundabout way and seek mere shadows of the rose, when his rose is real? Why should he live now that nature is bankrupt, beggared of the blood to blush through living veins? For she has no other treasury now but him, and, proud though she is of many, lives only on his returns. Oh, she stores him up to show what wealth she once had in days long past, before these last bad ones.
A bitter little poem about a fallen age that does not deserve the young man. Everyone copies his beauty, because the real thing has run out. It is Pemberton's own complaint. Frankly, they simply do not make them as they used to.
His cheek is the map of days worn out, when beauty lived and died as the flowers do now, before these counterfeit signs of fairness were worn, or dared to sit upon a living brow. Before the golden tresses of the dead, the rightful property of graves, were shorn away to live a second life on a second head, before beauty's dead fleece was used to make another gay. In him those holy ancient hours are seen, without any ornament, themselves and true, making no false summer out of another's green, and robbing no old grave to dress his beauty new. And nature keeps him as a map, to show false heart what beauty truly was in the long ago.
The companion to 67, and an oddly modern complaint. He is disgusted by wigs made from dead people's hair, and praises the young man for being beauty with no cosmetics and no counterfeit. A 400-year-old rant against the beauty industry.
Those parts of you that the world's eye can see lack nothing that the heart's imagination could improve. Every tongue, the voice of all souls, gives you that due speaking bare truth, as even enemies must. Your outward self is thus crowned with outward praise, but those very same tongues that grant you what is yours in other tones, undo that praise by seeing further than the eye has shown. They look into the beauty of your mind, and that they measure by guesswork against your deeds, and then those churls, though their eyes were kind, add to your lovely flower the rank smell of weeds. But why does your scent not match your show? The answer is simply this, that you grow common.
Here the praise turns barbed. Your looks are flawless, everyone agrees, but your reputation has begun to stink, because, says the closing line, flatly, thou dost common grow. It is the first time the poet lets actual disapproval show through the adoration.
That you are blamed shall not be counted your fall, for slander's mark has always fallen on the beautiful. Suspicion is the ornament of beauty, a crow flying across heaven's sweetest air. So long as you are good, slander only confirms your worth the more, since you are courted by the age, for the cankerworm loves the sweetest buds, and you present a pure and unstained prime. You have come safe through the ambush of youth's early days, either not attacked at all or attacked the winner. Yet this praise of yours cannot be made so great that it silences envy, which is always growing. If no suspicion of wrongdoing clouded your appearance, then whole kingdoms of hearts would be yours alone.
Having scolded him in 69, the poet at once walks it all back. The slander only proves you are admired, since envy always hunts the best. That whiplash between accusation and instant excuse is the entire emotional weather of these poems.
No longer mourn for me when I am dead, then you shall hear the surly, sullen bell give warning to the world that I have fled from this vile world, to go and live with the vilest worms. No, if you read this line, do not remember the hand that wrote it, for I love you so that I would rather be forgotten in your sweet thoughts, if thinking of me then should bring you grief. Oh, if, I say, you look upon this verse when I am perhaps already mixed with the clay, do not so much as say my poor name aloud, but let your love decay along with my life, in case the clever world should pry into your mourning, and mock you on account of me after I am gone.
The most selfless and most famous of his farewells, forget me the moment I die, he says, rather than let your grief expose you to a mocking world. Whether that is pure love or one last, exquisite bid for sympathy, 4 centuries have never quite decided, and that doubt is exactly its genius. 18 sonnets, and the adversary has changed. The betrayals and absences of Volume 3 give way to the largest opponent of all time and death, and the poet meets it with the boldest claim he ever makes, that this verse will outlast brass, stone, monuments, and war, and keep one human face alive past the judgment itself. He loses the argument with mortality in poem after poem. The towers fall, the sea eats the land, the flower cannot hold its plea, and then he wins it, every time, in the final 2 lines, with nothing but black ink. And by Sonnet 71 he turns that immortality upside down, and asks instead to be forgotten for the beloved's sake. What to read next, Volume 5, and the arrival of a rival poet. Until then, mind the footnotes. In short, Sonnets 55, 60, 65, the great boast, this verse will outlast marble, war, and time itself. Sonnets 57-58, the slave sonnets, devotion hardening into servitude. Sonnet 66, a weary cry for death in a corrupt world, redeemed only by the beloved. Sonnet 67-68, a 400-year-old rant against wigs, cosmetics, and a fallen age. Sonnet 71, the most selfless farewell, forget me the moment I die.